Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you are new, if you're not new, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marina and today I am back with another book video. An end of the year kind of book video. I feel like when it comes to my bookish content during the second half of the year, I've kind of been slacking a little. And in terms of just like my reading in general, I've just been slacking. If I tell you the amount of books I've read within the past like 2 months alone, you will probably be so confused and or side-eye me because I really don't know what happened. Well, school happened, work happened, life happened. I've had no time to really like get invested in a book in so long. But when I made this list, the list I'm going to be talking about today, I got a little bit excited and I haven't gotten that feeling for a book in a while. So I'm hoping by making this video I can share some of that energy because I feel like a lot of people are in reading slumps right now. So I've been seeing around the booktube, book talk, book Twitter community, and just in life in general, like even my friends that read are kind of just like, yeah, I just haven't been in a reading mood. So I'm just like, what's in the air? I'm gonna try and like give my opinions for these books I'm going to be talking about and hoping that they will get you guys to read, because the books I'm going to be mentioning are the 22 books that I want to read in 2022. Before I start on this list, I would just like to say that some of these books are new books that are coming out in 2022, but they're also like old books that I just haven't had the time to read or get around to reading at all. So it's a little bit of a mixture of like books I want to read in 2022, but also like my most anticipated releases for 2022. I don't have the time to make a video, like 2 videos separately for this. So I was like, why not just make this into one video? just because I have a lot of end of the year videos to make, and I feel like this is just easier to just make into one whole thing. Another disclaimer before I start: even though I am making this list, I can't promise I'm gonna stick to it. Okay, this is just what I want to read, okay, what I really want to read, but plans change, people change, and who knows, maybe I'm just not feeling these books when they come out around this time next year, but they're on the list now, okay? So please don't hold me to this list, because I swear once these books come out, if I don't have them in my hand, but at least like within the few weeks after they come out, don't crucify me. It's just a list, guys. It's just a list. Chill. So first book that I am going to talk about that is on this list that I really want to read in 2022 is Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn. This is the sequel in the Legendborn cycle. Y'all know how I feel about Legendborn. This is literally my book. I think about these characters almost like every week. I've been thinking about this sequel since she announced it. I think it was like a month ago. I've already pre-ordered my copy of it. I'm waiting patiently. This book takes place right after the events of what happened at the end of the last book, so I'm very excited because if y'all know how that last book ended, it's a lot and I need answers. I need so many answers. I also need Cell Bree ship to sail a little bit. Don't get me wrong, I honestly do not care who Bree ends up with, but we all know that the focus is going to be on Cell and Bree this book. So I'm just saying, I need it immediately in my hand. I'm not even joking. I'm pretty sure, when does this come out? She pushed back the date. Okay, so it's coming out November 8th of 2022. When I pre-ordered it, it said it was coming out in the summer. I guess I'm gonna have to wait like an extra few months. Whatever, it's fine. If I can go a whole year without a sequel, I can go another whole 2 years without a sequel. But please don't push it back any further, Tracy. Like, please, I need it in my hands immediately. When I saw the cover for it, I audibly gasped. Like, the world stopped. Something shifted in the universe. Because look at that cover. Look at it. It's right here. It's just Cell and Bree and them looking amazing together. Like, are you kidding? Like, they have me in a chokehold, these two. This whole entire, like, series in general, yeah. Definitely my most anticipated. Like, out of all the books I'm probably gonna mention in this video, that's definitely like up there. The next book is by an author that I have mentioned previously to be one of my favorites. I think it was in my mid-year book freakout tag. I read one book from this author and I just want to read more. But the book I'm going to be talking about is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I was about to say Quasty. It's not Quasty, it's Casey McQuiston. This book is pretty old. I'm pretty sure it came out in like 2020. I think maybe 2019, I'm not sure, but I've read Red, White, and Royal Blue. Yeah, this here, and it has been plaguing my mind ever since. It's definitely one of my favorite reads of this year, at least in the romance category. It was just so much fun to read, and Casey's writing style is like something that I personally like adapted with almost instantaneously, which never really happens to me when I read a book. I'm just curious to see how I will feel reading her other books, basically. And I want to read this one before her newest book comes out next year. I Kissed Shara Wheeler. Shara Wheeler. Yeah. This is set to come out in May 3rd, and I think it's going to be her first attempt at a YA romance. So I think it's like a rom-com-esque book, but like it's her first young adult book in general. Basically, it's about this girl, Chloe. She's destined for valedictorian. She has her path ahead of her, like she knows what she wants to do. The only person getting in her way is Shara Wheeler. And of course, like, I think it's like a few weeks before graduation, Shara just comes up, kisses her, and then leaves. And Shara does this with like a few other people too. So Chloe is confused and she's like, I need to figure out what's going on. When Shara leaves, she leaves like notes and stuff around both Chloe and the other people that she kissed, and they have to try and find her to just figure out what's going on in time for like graduation. It kind of gave me Paper Towns vibes, even though I've never read Paper Towns, but it gave me that kind of vibe, but like gay, and I'm totally here for it. So yeah, as soon as I saw that synopsis, I was like, that's so interesting. Okay, I wasn't expecting that route, but I thought it was cute, and I really want to read one last stop before I read this. It comes out in May 3rd, so I have time, but do I though? Because whenever I say I have time, I never do in the grand scheme of things. We're just gonna have to see. Okay, the fourth book on my list is A Tempest of Tea. Yeah, A Tempest of Tea by Hasfa Faisal. This is a historical fiction fantasy. I don't know what to expect. I mean, it's a fantasy, so I'm assuming that I would like it, but like, I have no idea. I read the synopsis and that's what had me hooked, but even like after I read the synopsis, I was like, that's a little, that's strange, but I'm intrigued. Like I couldn't not add it to my list, you know? It's about this group, this gang of outcasts. They go on a heist, and it's to protect this tea room that they've created, but the tea room is a front. The tea room is actually like a space for vampires to like get blood legally and safely, and so the heist is made to like protect said tea room because like someone is threatening to out it as for what it is, and obviously vampires aren't accepted in the society, and people that support vampires aren't accepted in the society. And yeah, I'm pretty sure there's like murders that go along with it, as well as more people like figure out who the vampires are that vacate this spot. You have me. Yeah, guys. I think I mentioned this earlier this year. If it's a vampire book, I will read it. Especially like this new age vampire book where like people are willing to like twist the story a little bit to fit different narratives. Like it's not just like basic vampire romance, which is what we got a lot of in like the late 2000s, early 2010s. I'm talking like this new age of vampire. I'm currently reading a vampire book right now. I'm not gonna tell y'all what it is. It's really good. I've been reading it for 2 months though, because reading slump, terrible, I know, but it's really, really good. And as I was reading it, I was like, wow, I can't wait for like this new age of just like vampire books to come amok, because I think authors are finally somewhat getting the assignment when it comes to like what you could do in a world of vampires, and like how you can like make them, especially like with different societies when it comes to fantasy. It's so cool. And so when I read this premise, I think it takes place in like the 1920s too, I was already like, whoa, did they make this for me? Maybe. Yeah, it comes out November 8th, so a little later into the year, but also that's kind of the perfect time to read a vampire book in my opinion, like during the fall. I feel like this book was kind of made for me, and I'm very excited. Next book that I want to read is a book that is actually coming out in a few weeks, Fiona and Jane by Jean Chen Ho. I hope I said that right. If I didn't, correct me in the comments below. But yeah, this is a contemporary fiction. It comes out January 4th. The artistic style of the cover, very abstract, very like colorful. I love that. So I was already like, okay, let me see. So I read the synopsis and I was like, oh, interesting. It's about these two young, I think by the start of the book they're teenagers, but you watch them grow up. These two young Taiwanese American teenagers, and they're two girls. They're like best friends, and it shows the trials and tribulations of their friendship as they get older, what with like their relationships, whether it be their own friendship or like romantic relationships or family relationships, and like them figuring out who they are in the world in general, not like just like an existential crisis type of who they are, but like who they are in the world, and like how they fit into each other's lives and how they stay friends throughout. And it's just them kind of growing up together throughout this book. I'm pretty sure the book isn't even that big. I'm pretty sure it's just like 200 pages. Yeah, it's like 288 pages, so it's not that long. So I was like, this might be a little fun read. It might be a cute fun read, might be depressing depending on how the author wants to go with this sort of plot. But I haven't read like a friendship centered book in so long, and I feel like that's such like an underrated relationship to write about, because of course, like you guys know me, I love romance, but like when it's just like friendship is the center focal point of the whole entire book, I love that, especially because it gives you so much more to work with. Something about it makes me feel so good on the inside, you know, like I don't know, I already feel like Fiona and Jane could be my besties. I don't know, I know nothing about these girls, but I'm just like, this might be good. Story of friendship through hard times. You already have me where you want me. So yeah, that comes out January 4th. I will be reading it. I don't know if I'll be reading it in January or February or any time around when it comes out, but I will try to read it next year whenever I get the chance, because it just sounds a little too good not to. Next book I have is a book that's actually right behind me, Cersei by Madeline Miller. I've been saying I've been wanting to read this book for months. I've been wanting to read this book since I read Song of Achilles, and I read Song of Achilles I think back in like, was it March? Yeah, I need to read this. I've been putting it off for so long that there's really no excuse. I just haven't had the time to, as with most books nowadays that I want to read. I just don't have the time to, but I really, really want to read it. Madeline Miller is also one of my favorite authors of this year that I've read from, just because of Song of Achilles alone. I will literally read anything this woman puts out, and the fact that I haven't read Cersei yet is terrible. It's sinister, evil. Like, I don't know why I haven't, but I'm gonna get to it. Just like, give me time. The universe, please give me time. Like, the world, whoever's listening, give me time, because I don't know when I'm gonna make time to do it. If next semester goes like how last semester went, yeah, I will make no promises, because last semester kicked my ass. So we're just gonna have to see. But yes, this is definitely high on the list of my books I want to read in 2022, because Madeline Miller just makes excellent stuff. Next book, book 7, Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. Yeah, I mentioned this in my mid-year book freakout tag. You guys know I want to read it. The fact that I haven't read this either is actually very evil. I thought I was going to finish this trilogy this year. I guess that was a lie. I guess that was a bold-faced lie. I've already read the first 2 books. I read them in the summer though, and I guess it's my fault for waiting to read this book when school starts. That's on me. I should have known. Because I can never do what I want when school starts. It takes up like all my time. But yeah, I want to read this. You guys know how much I love the Brown Sisters trilogy. Nothing else left to say. I will be reading this in 2022, and if I don't, you guys have every right to like curse me out in the comments. So next book I have is part of a series, a book series, and also like an actual live action series, a series that I've been watching since the start that I didn't know was based off of a book series, but now that I know, I'm gonna read it now. I'm gonna be reading Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, the first book in the Wheel of Time series. I am obsessed with the show right now. The season finale for it just dropped. I haven't had a chance to watch it. I'll probably watch it tonight after I finish this video. But yeah, I'm obsessed with that actual show, it's so interesting. The story, the world that they live in, so interesting. So I was like, let me read this damn book series. I know that it's long. The books themselves and the series, I'm pretty sure the series is like 15 books total, and the books are giant, like enormous. I know that the books are pretty old too, like they came out in the 90s, so I'm not sure if that'll affect my liking for it. I hope not. Probably not. If it's anything to go by with the show, and I've heard that like people that read the books that are watching the show, they say that the show is an accurate adaptation of the books and like they did a good job portraying everything. I feel like I'm gonna love the books. So yeah, I just want to get started on it. Okay, next book I want to read is also part of a series that I wanted to start right after I finished one of the series behind me. I will be reading The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan, which is the first book in the Heroes of Olympus series, which is the spin-off series of Percy Jackson. Yeah, I say that I will read this book because I will. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I will read this book. I don't know why I haven't yet. I started reading a sample of it on ebooks right after I finished Percy Jackson, but like I was still healing from the end of Percy Jackson, so it was still too fresh. I don't know why I thought I could get right into the next series right afterwards, especially since it's like totally different characters. Not saying that Percy isn't in the other series. I'm pretty sure he makes cameos along with some of the other characters from the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. But I wasn't ready to dive right into new people. Like it was still too fresh in my head, in my heart. So I think now I'm ready, and 2022 it's just gonna be me reading that series. I'm ready personally. I hope, because I can't believe I haven't read this year. I'm kind of upset, but also I think I needed that time. I think I needed a little bit of time just to like get over this series, and I'm still not even fully over it. I don't think I'll ever be over the Percy Jackson series. I'm willing to give the Heroes of Olympus series a shot, because the sample that I read, I think it was of like the first 2 chapters of it, I was like, oh, what's going on? I was already like in it. The new characters seem interesting, and I heard that the books are pretty good. Good as Percy Jackson? Debatable. It's a debatable topic, and I can't get into it until I've actually read it. I have like no actual opinion. So yeah, I can't wait to get into that book debate. I'm already in like 10 others. Why not get into that one? Next book that I would like to read was mentioned in my mid-year freak out book tag as well, The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Really don't know why I haven't read this book yet. I mentioned that I watched the movie, but obviously the book is probably going to be better than the movie, so I want to read it. And then like with that, if I have the time next year, I want to read the prequel Concrete Rose that follows Star's dad. I really want to read that, but I'm just going to do one book at a time. Like I'm just going to put The Hate You Give on this list just to see if I actually get to it, because I do want to read it. There's nothing that should stop me from reading this book. I should have read it a while ago, but I didn't. So now I'm going to read it in 2022. I hope. And we're just going to see how that goes. Okay, next book I want to read so bad that I had no idea existed. No one told me. No one even talks about this. I had no idea this existed. I want to read The Demon in the Wood by Leigh Bardugo, which is the prequel story of the Darkling from the Shadow and Bone trilogy, but it's in graphic novel form. Hello? I did not hear a thing about this. That's kind of sick. Where are y'all that are like obsessed with this world, obsessed with the Darkling? Why has no one talked about this? I'm so confused. Apparently it came out in 2014, but yet crickets, no words, no nothing. It's just been crickets about this. I'm so confused. All I heard was graphic novel, Grishaverse, and Darkling prequel, and that's all I really need, especially Darkling prequel, because y'all know how I'm kind of obsessed with the Darkling in the books, and the book version of the Darkling I'm obsessed with. The show Darkling, different story for a different day. I really want to know more about the Darkling. I love him as a villain throughout the books. As a love interest for Alina, absolutely not, but his story and the way like he portrays himself in the book, he's just so interesting, and I've always wanted to know more, and I didn't get what I wanted in the books, the trilogy of Shadow and Bone, and I want that in this, so I'm gonna read it. I don't know where I can find it. All I know is that it exists now, and there's no reason why this should not be already in my hand, why it should not be on my bookshelf. I'm reading it next year. Since we're already in the Grishaverse land, let's talk about it. I want to get into King of Scars next year. I've read Six of Crows, I've read Shadow and Bone, I still need to read King of Scars, and the fact that I haven't yet, again, like I'm telling you guys, sick and twisted that I haven't read this yet because it has my king Nikolai. Are you kidding? It's the fact that I haven't read Nikolai's story yet. Not even Nikolai, but also Zoya. Like, I need to get into this duology, and I don't know why I haven't. Yes, you do, Marina. Stop saying that. It's because you haven't had time. But I will make time for this because I'm actually so irritated that I put it off this long. You guys know how Nikolai's story ended in Shadow and Bone. I'm still kind of traumatized for what my boy went through in the last book. So I need to know what's going on with him. And if King of Scars and Rule of Wolves, the sequel to it, is going to give me that, then I need it in my life. But yeah, The Demon in the Wood and King of Scars, Leigh Bardugo has me in a chokehold. I will be reading those because, hello. It's me we're talking about. Come on, guys. You already know what it is. Next book I'm going to be talking about is another fantasy. I'm pretty sure it's an epic fantasy or high fantasy. I don't know the difference between the two, but I have it next to me. I am going to be reading The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. It's about time that I get into this because the hype for it is astronomical. I hear about this book all the time. Some people say it's one of the best fantasies ever. Like, I'm late to the party, I know, but I bought it a while ago. Like, I think I bought it in November or October, and I have not read it yet. It's just been sitting on my shelf waiting for me to like crack it open, and I'm gonna do it next year. This is very thick. I'm kind of intimidated, not gonna lie. But also, I'm the same person that got through a quart of Silver Flames in 2 days. I should not be intimidated by this. If I can get through that in 2 days, I can get through this, no problem. I have not read a Samantha Shannon book. I know that she wrote the Bone Season series. Haven't touched that. I don't even know what it's about, and I really want to read this. I'm pretty sure it's set in like a queendom fantasy land, so the whole entire empire kingdom is ran by women. Exactly. I know that it has dragons, and that's it. Oh, and gay. It's very gay, so I've heard. So I'm excited. I know literally nothing. I know the bare minimum, and that's all it takes to honestly get me hooked. I bought this when I was in a fantasy mood, and then I didn't have a chance to read it. So let's hope by the time that I actually have time to read it, I will be in a fantasy mood, because I'm so sick of looking at this big ass book on my shelves and not having it read. It's so annoying. So the next book / book series that I want to get into next year is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I've only heard great things about this too. I'm pretty sure it takes after like Chinese mythology, but also like actual Chinese history. Oh, also this is gay as well. I know nothing, and I want to read this series so bad, and the fact that I haven't yet, I don't know. I have no idea. I wanted to read this at the beginning of the year, like honestly, but I was in a romance mood in the beginning of the year, and I'm not gonna read something that I'm not in the mood for, because then that'll make me give it a bad rating, and that's not fair. So I'm gonna read this next year when I have the time, when I feel like reading it. I haven't purchased it yet. I want to get the books just because like the covers of them are kind of stunning. Next book I want to read is a book by an author that I've read from this year that had me screaming, crying, sobbing, choking on broken glass. Like, this author had me in a chokehold with the one book that I've read by them this year. And the book I'm going to be reading from them next year, hopefully, crossing fingers, Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Yep, you guys, it's time that I get into it. It's time that I get into the Taylor Jenkins Reid spiral, like everyone else on BookTube, everyone else on Book Twitter, everyone else on Book Talk. I'm just late to the party as per usual, but I don't want to be late anymore. I want to be invested, because after reading The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, I'm kind of interested. She has me intrigued, and I know that Daisy Jones and the Six is one of her other most popular reads, and I'm pretty sure Daisy Jones and the Six is getting a show or a movie or something, so I want to read it before whatever that is comes out, because I know that Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is also getting a live adaptation as well. I'm pretty sure it's a Hulu live adaptation if I'm not mistaken. So I'm glad I read that before that's coming out, but I haven't heard anything about it since before I started reading the book. So I don't know if that's still in the works, but I do know Daisy Jones and the Six is getting something soon. So I'm gonna probably read it early in the year. I can't wait. I hear a lot about this book. Just like how I heard a lot about the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, I feel like Taylor Jenkins Reid just knows how to do historical fiction really well without having me bored, because sometimes historical fiction does that to me. I can get bored really easily, but throughout reading the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, I was so invested because it was just a lot of mess and drama, and I live for that. And everyone says that it's like that in this book too. So I'm hoping. Hyped up books usually get like a 3, maybe 2-star rating for me, but that right there, I'm looking at the book because it's right next to me, but the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, it was just too excellent. So let's hope that she doesn't let me down with this one, but something tells me that like she won't. So next book is a interesting one because I had no idea this was even a thing that was coming out. Next is the book Good Girl Complex by Elle Kennedy. Yeah, you heard right. Elle Kennedy is writing a new series. I think it's a series. This is her new romance thing that she has going on that's coming out in February. I think February 1st if I'm not mistaken. And I'm intrigued. Here's the thing, right? Elle Kennedy, she had me with Off Campus. That was fine. Then I tried out Priory, wasn't for me. And then like I didn't read The Legacy, but everyone who read The Legacy instantly regretted it and hated their lives for at least 3 weeks afterward. So I didn't even touch it. But from what I've heard, that the stuff that goes down in there, I'm never gonna touch it ever. So I'm hoping that this is a fresh start. We're moving on from that universe of Priory, Off Campus, all those people. Like this is a fresh start for her fans and for her. So I'm curious to see what she does. From what I know, it's about this girl named Mac. Yeah, and she in a long relationship with her current boyfriend during this time. Is her parents' favorite out of her siblings, I'm pretty sure. Just like a pretty good, decent person. Everyone loves her for it. And she's kind of tired of keeping up this act. She ends up moving somewhere, and the synopsis is kind of foggy, but she ends up moving somewhere and her neighbor is this bad boy, and they start to befriend each other, even though the bad boy is like, she's everything that he hates in people. Like she's rich, pretty, very, very nice to literally everyone, and he hates that for some reason. And he ends up falling for her like later on, and he's like keeping it a secret. She honestly loves their friendship so much that like I think that even when he tells her, she just doesn't even want to know. So it's a little messy. So it's supposed to be cute, I think, but yeah, I love a good romance book where the boy falls first. I love that, especially when it's like an I hate everyone in the world but you boy. Granted, I have not read this book, but based on the synopsis alone, I could tell that that's what I'm getting into with this love interest guy. I don't remember his name. I'm not invested, but I'm willing to give it a chance because after everything she's put me through with Off Campus and Priory, I need something else. I'm willing to give her a chance, okay? Next book I have is a new contemporary romance that comes out May 24th. It is called You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akwaeke Amazi. Give me a break with the names. You guys know I suck at names. But yes, I was intrigued by the cover alone. I love the cover. I thought it was stunning. I had no idea it was a romance, but now that I know it's a romance, I was already like hooked because I haven't read a romance with a black lead, I think, since I read the Brown Sisters trilogy. I think and it's been months since I read that. I know that there are some that exist out there, but not a lot. When I read the premise for this, I was like, okay, this might be it. So it centers around a woman who just lost her husband, grieving everything. She's just trying to get her life together, and while getting her life together, she meets a new man while she's grieving the death of her old one. So it's just about her trying to move on with life and see life for what it is, not this depressing hole, this spiral of grief. And the man that she meets helps her with that. Like, he takes her on trips. I'm pretty sure he's rich. Takes her on trips, extravagant dinners, living like this amazing lifestyle. And yeah, I was like, okay, this might be cute, this might be fun. It comes out May 24th, and I probably will get it the day it comes out. I just love a good romance with a black lead. It's so rare, so few in between when it comes to popular ones, at least. Like, I don't really hear about any of them. If you guys want to recommend me some, leave me some down in the comments, because I have no idea. I don't know. Next book is The Ravens by Danielle Page and Cass Morgan. This came out, I think, in 2020. I just didn't get around to reading it this year, but I want to read it next year because the premise of it still has me, and the cover alone, I look at it almost every other day because I work in a bookstore. So I see these books that I want to read that I just haven't had a chance to get around to buying or reading, and I really want to read it. I think it's about the sorority of witches. That's all I know. That's all I need to know. And yeah. Now these next few are mystery thrillers. Now, you guys know the only mystery that I've read this year is Ace of Spades, and it was a YA thriller. Not to say that it wasn't good. That it had me on the edge of my seat the entire time, which is why I'm a little more open to reading more mystery thrillers. I'm willing to just see. I'm willing to dive in just a little, just to see what's up. So I chose a few. So the first one is the Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. It comes out February 22nd. It is about this girl who is just trying to restart her life and doesn't really know where to start. So she just goes to live with her brother in his apartment in Paris. But when she gets there, she's like, this apartment is nice as hell. Like, how can my brother afford this? I'm so confused. When she does get there, her brother isn't there. And events happen going forward. Premise kind of stopped there, but I want to see. I just want to see. I know that this author is famous for writing like thrillers. I've never read anything by Lucy Foley, but I just want to see what it is. I've not read any book that is that takes place in Paris. I rarely ever read books that don't take place out of the United States. That's not on purpose or anything. Like, and most of the books that I do read that take place out of the United States are fantasy lands. So I don't know, I just feel like this could be interesting. Then the next book I have is Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. This is also a mystery thriller. Comes out January 4th, so literally in a few weeks. I'm pretty sure this is the same author that wrote The Woman Upstairs. I have not read that. I've heard mixed reviews about that, but I'm going to give this a chance because the premise, I was a little bit like, whoa, what? So it's about this couple that goes to an island with another couple, and while they're at this island, they meet another couple, so like 6 people in general on this island together, just chilling, having fun. And then someone comes, and then shit starts happening, and I'm pretty sure it's an abandoned island too. I'm pretty sure one of the couples owns the island that they're staying at. So it's just those 6 people and the one person that's just like harassing them and won't let them leave. That's cool. I think it's like the abandoned island, private island aspect, because like, where else could you go? Especially if like the person harassing them like won't let them leave or is doing all this creepy shit. When I read that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that comes out in a few weeks. I don't know if I'm gonna read it. I'll probably wait to read it in the summer, most likely, just so I can have my full attention. Book 21 is the first book in a series that I've been wanting to read for so long. It's Every Heart a Doorway by Shannon McGuire, which is the first book in the Wayward Children series. And I was like, okay, I need to get to this eventually. These books, if you guys don't know, this like series takes place with like all these different children in a foster home, and it's portal fantasy. So every kid that is going through something gets their own book, and they go through a portal, and the portal just takes them to places that they need during that time. It's a fantasy land that these portals take them to, but it's all places where like these children really wanted to be during that time or need to be during that time. Shows a little bit of their past and everything. And ever since I've heard of this series, I always wanted to read it. I just never had the time, and I don't really know what's stopping me next year, honestly, because these books are kind of small. Like, I think they're like quick reads. They're like no more than 100 pages. And the last book for the series comes out next year. So I'm just like, okay, I'm not patient enough to wait for another book to come out of the series. Like, I don't know how y'all do that. Like, with this Legendborn Cycle series, like, it's kind of torturous. I like reading series when they're already done. So as soon as I heard that the last book comes out next year, I don't know when the last book comes out, I'll start that when I get through the other 6. But yeah, I was like, let me just start this series real quick. So yeah, I'm gonna read it. I'm kind of excited. Like, I'm a little intrigued, a little excited, can't wait. Okay guys, so the last book I'm going to be reading, hopefully in 2022, is The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. Guys, I've heard this is like one of the most talked about romances of 2021, I think, and the fact that I haven't read it, confusing, but also I'm kind of glad I haven't read it, because I don't want to feed into the hype, because every time I feed into the hype of something, I don't end up liking it. So I wanted to give it a while. I wanted to like let it cool down on every social media platform before I actually got into it, because all I've heard about this book is Aaron Blackford, I think that's his name, and how hot he is and how great the story is and everything. I don't know anything about this other than fake dating, which isn't one of my favorite tropes, so I'm kind of scared. I've also seen a little bit of scenes from it on Twitter. Like, people like to post like little snippets, like quote bots will sometimes post something that Aaron Blackford has said, and I'm just like, oh, okay. Like, I swear every person swoons over this Aaron Blackford man. So I'm just like, okay, I will read the book. I will read the damn book. I will read it. I'm not gonna lie, I'll probably get this one out of the way at the beginning of the year just to see what y'all are talking about, because I'm so confused and I want to know too. I want to be involved. I just didn't want to be involved in the moment where it was happening, but I want to be involved now, and hopefully I like it. And if I don't, I blame everyone that told me that I would. That's my list. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If there are any books on this list that you're interested in, leave a comment down below. We can have a chat, because almost every book on this list, like I'm like a little too hyped up for, just a little. So yeah, I need someone to talk about these with. And if you have read some of the books on these lists, let me know. Tell me your feelings about them, your own personal feelings. Don't hold back. If you don't like it, don't hold back. If you love it, I need to know. I like to know other people's opinions. If you'd like to follow me on my social media, here it is. I mostly interact on Twitter, but if you'd like to follow me on my other social medias, they will be linked in the description below. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye everyone.